Sure, yeah. I think the best piece of advice that I could give is to find people who understand what you're going through and connect to them and reach out to them and use the people in your own support network as resources. One of the things that I found is that grief can be very isolating and very lonely. We often feel like we're a burden for feeling the way we do. We don't want to put that on anybody else, and particularly as a caregiver, right? There's a lot of guilt about feeling bad because I wasn't the one that was sick and I wasn't the one that was managing the illness. So what right do I have to even be upset about this, right? But caregivers do, and hard situations are hard for everybody, and everyone is going through it in their own way. So I would say to fight through the isolation and try to connect to people and communicate how you're feeling with people who understand and who can give you what you need. Sure. I think one of the things that I took from my dad being sick was this idea of being relentlessly positive, which he was. He was so positive he was going to get better. All of these things were going to happen, which unfortunately didn't come true. What I like to rely more on is I call it professionally is moderate positivity during really hard times, because I think being overwhelmingly optimistic, positive can feel really unnatural to people when they're going through something hard. So to just be like to say, for example, to say life is wonderful, every moment is wonderful when you're dealing with losing somebody or, an illness yourself or something difficult. I think it's hard for people to buy into that. But I do think what people can do is find the small moments to be grateful for, and to focus on those. And in my book, I talk about how when my dad was sick, he was in Manhattan, and I would have to take the train in from where I lived in order to go see him, and they would be very hard days because he would be getting treatments for a really long time, and it was sad, and it was just a really hard time. But I would set it up in such a way that I would get a coffee from a place that I really liked, or I would listen to music that I really liked on the walk to the hospital, because then I could focus on those things. I'd be able to say I'm going to have a really hard day, but at least I get these things from it, right? I can listen to the music, I can have the coffee, and it didn't counteract what was happening for sure, but finding the small ways to be grateful made it easier to do very challenging things.